Hello, I'm Liam Fay, one of the digital solutions advisors based in the regional city of Queensland, and I'm going to be your advisor today as I take you through social media for business. Now, I've been producing content for social media since 2008, just about to celebrate 14 years in business, and my company is one of the largest content production companies in Queensland, and we focus purely on creating content for businesses. In the early days, back in 2008, when Facebook first got its business pages, there's a lot of question about what to actually post on social media. And while styles and approaches have definitely changed over the time, the core principle of it hasn't changed. That core principle is social media is social. So the most important thing is that you post content with people in it. That's going to be a recurring theme regardless of what platform that we look at. If we look across the three main platforms that most people look at these days, which is Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, Facebook is definitely geared at that sort of 30 to 40 plus sort of audience. Instagram is your 20 to 30 market, and TikTok is your under 20 market. Interesting thing about TikTok is that around about 1 in 3 Australians over the age of 18 now have TikTok. It's one of the fastest growing platforms. It was the most downloaded app last year. And TikTok's one of those platforms I do definitely love, just simply because it's one of the few platforms that you can go viral on. When you're posting content to Facebook, and we're talking purely organic content here, nothing paid behind it. When you post it, only people who engage with your page, engagements, liking, tagging, sharing, commenting, clicking, will actually see what you're posting. So if your customers aren't regularly engaging with the content that you're posting, they're never going to see anything that you're posting. With TikTok, it's based on engagement to the hashtags that you're using and engagement to the page. So if they're actively engaged with the hashtags, then they'll see content from you. If they're actively following your page, liking it, commenting it, sharing your content, they'll also see what you're posting. With TikTok, TikTok's a totally different beast. When you post content to that page, it goes out to a small audience. If that small audience engages with it, then it sends it out to a slightly bigger audience. If they engage with it, it sends it to a bigger audience, bigger. So it's entirely possible that you can post something today on TikTok and have 1 million viewers on it by the end of the week, which is why it's one of my favorite platforms at the moment. Something else to note with Facebook in particular, when people and Instagram, when they share the content, the people that see that shared content are people that engage with that people. So if you have a friend and they post something, you might not necessarily see what they share unless you actively engage with that friend. And we've probably all experienced it where we've gone onto Facebook, we've gone, oh, I wonder what our friend's been up to, we haven't seen them since school, work, etc. We do a little bit of a stalk, and then we don't stop seeing content from them. That's because you've shown interest in them, and Facebook wants to show, Instagram wants to show you, TikTok wants to show you, LinkedIn even wants to show you, YouTube. All those platforms want to show you what they think you are interested in based on their algorithm. And they're doing it for one simple purpose. Because when you scroll down or swipe across, you start seeing ads. Every single time you see ads, those platforms make money. So that wants to show you the most engaging content. So let's start talking about what content is the most engaging. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my screen shared. And let's have a look through my Facebook. Now, if anyone has a question at any point in time during this webinar, feel free to use the chat function or the question and answer function down the bottom in your Zoom controls. If you're watching this later online, reach out to me at Business Station. Okay, let's get my screen shared. Okay, so here's my personal Facebook page. Now, this is totally a live workshop, so I have no idea what content on here, so content warning. Let's scroll down for it. So first thing is a picture. This is actually from one of the other advisors, and I don't know where she is, but it looks awesome. Scroll down through here, we've got something from Rockhampton Regional Council. Based in the regional city of Rockhampton, so that makes sense. I see that. Something from one of my friends who's an agent. I have no idea what that one is. Community notice board. Rocky Amateurs. And, equipment for sale. I naturally see a lot of this sort of content because, I use this content to create content for businesses I work with. But as I scroll through here, the content that attracts your interest and catches your eye is the content that generally has people in it or you directly relate to it. The stuff that looks like advertising, and I'll keep in mind at the moment I actually have an ad blocker on. I'm just going to refresh my page here. Bingo, straight away I've got an ad. I've got this ad because I must have shown some sort of interest in this type of page. As I scroll through here, see, there's another ad there. I'm looking at a new water cooler for my office at the moment, so naturally I'm going to get ads for that. But the content that tends to attract your interest is the one that has people in it. Because when we go onto social media, we're looking to see what our friends and family are doing. We're not going on there to look at advertising. So as a business, we want to create content that is really engaging with our audience. It's things that they're going to be interested in. It's what they're looking for on social media. And I tend to break it down into a 4-step process. And I've been using this 4-step process for over a decade now, and it tends to work with every single business. Step 1, branding posts. Who are you? What are your values? People in your business? As essentially, who are you and why should I care? That's the first step with branding. Branding posts really showcase and represent who you are as a business. When we look at branding, and let's use an example of 2 of the biggest brands in the world, Samsung and Apple, I'm a Samsung user every single day of the week. And the reason for that is because this is my connection to the world. If my screen is broken, that'd be very painful. And I've never really seen an iPhone that doesn't have a broken screen. So I associate the brand Samsung with trust and associate Apple with broken screens. That's how I feel about it. And we naturally create these associations with every single brand that we use, even subconsciously. When we look at branding, and again, we're going to use another big example here. Does anyone know what the tagline is for Woolworths? Think about it for a second. Most people will probably jump up and go, okay, it is the fresh food people. Now, can anyone tell me what the tagline is for Coles? I don't really get anyone that ever can tell me what the tagline is for Coles. Let's look at Bunnings. Everyday low prices. Lowest prices are just the beginning. That's it. Lowest prices are just the beginning. The tagline for Coles is everyday low value. So it's not a tagline you hear. They don't really utilize it too much. Most people go to the red spot because that's how they position their marketing. So when you're doing branding posts, you're really trying to position your business and get your customers to understand who you are and what your values are. The branding post I always like to start with is a picture of the owner or the manager of the business. Introduce yourself. Who are you? How long have you been in the business? Say that you are the business owner. Explain why you started the business and your experience in it. Then I like to finish with something that's personal, something that connects you to other people, something that they can talk to you about, something that makes you real. For me, it's I like to fly a little light aircraft. It's my hobby, it's my passion. I don't do it as much as I like, but this plane here, Zulu Data X-ray, is actually the one I normally fly. That's why it's my virtual background. So introduction post, let people know who you are. That's branding. Next step up to that is capability. Now, capability often gets confused with sales. When you're doing a capability post, you're not trying to sell. You should never let anyone know your prices. You're not trying to lead them anywhere. You're purely trying to inform. So if you've got a product, you might take a picture of yourself, especially just on an introduction to yourself post, and hold up the product and be like, this is Liam's product of the week. It does this, this, and this. If you're a service-based business, you might want to show that, okay, Liam is working on this week. So showcase that in your capability. There was a butcher shop that I worked with, I think going back to 2016. The first year I worked with them, I doubled their business. The next year I tripled their business. The only thing that I did different was I took the pictures that they were taking of their meat and took pictures of them holding the meat. I put the butcher in the picture with the meat, and suddenly their sales increased because it wasn't, this is the product for sale. It's, hey, this is Liam's pick of the week, the T-bone steak. So the customers connected with that really easily. They related to it, and it increased the sales in that business. Once we've showcased the capability post, the next step after that, oh, we've got a question here. Belinda says, would I use me in the pic or the people who use the product? People who use your product is actually step number 4. So you'd use yourself in the picture. So you use a picture of yourself as the owner of the business, or you'd use a picture of one of your team. They both work effectively, or one of your staff. So sorry, I'm just reading notes here. Yeah, so use a picture of yourself. So once you've showcased the capability, exactly who you are, the next step after that is action. Action is where you ask your customer to actually do something. So you say to your customer, okay, click through to our website, have a look at what we've got there. This product's on sale, this one's on discount, this is our product of the week, you can order online. We're open from 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock today, come in and buy a product. Whatever it is, when you do an action post, you're asking your customer to do something for you. The final step is your social testimony. This is where you try and get pictures of your customers utilizing your product or your service. If you're a service-based business and you've just put a pull in, get the customer with the pull. If you're a product-based business, yeah, try and get your customers wearing or using your product. Sheila says, I'm in the accommodation business, so what would I do? It's actually really interesting there because my team has just finished doing a massive brand shoot for accommodation businesses. You think about, as an accommodation business, first of all, you do the branding thing, so you introduce yourself, then you showcase your capability. So you've got accommodation, so showcase the different accommodation options you have. Right down to your disability rooms. Now, you don't have to do this all in one post. Social media is great like that. It's not a TV commercial. You don't have to sell everything in 15 seconds. You can do 1 post a week or 2 posts a week and showcase things over a period of time. That's fine. With accommodation, I'd showcase your rooms. I'd showcase your disability rooms. If you allow pets onto your property, I'd showcase that, yeah, you can bring your pets. Pets are a really good one when you start doing social testimony. You get someone staying in accommodation, they've got a cute dog, get a picture of them with their cute dog. People love pets on Facebook, on Instagram, that sort of thing works wonders. Plus you can showcase, here at my accommodation, we have pet-friendly accommodation. You can showcase things that the facilities of your property, there's a lot of different options here that can represent exactly who you are. Well, through social testimony. The key trick to social testimony posts is if you've taken a picture of Liam, you have to have Liam was really enjoying his stay at this place. Or if Liam's bought the glitter product, Liam really enjoys this glitter product. Sorry, every time I think glitter, I just think the glitter bombs. If anyone else has a business type, feel free to show it, throw it at me and I'll give you a couple of suggestions as we go. I feel like I probably worked across every single industry that you could ever begin to think of, and I have ideas for them all. With my production team, the guys that work for me, they can all shoot video, they can all shoot photos, etc. I pay them to come up with ideas. And I feel like I want to eat my hat now because Helen has just told me that she works in financial planning. Financial planning is one of those really, really difficult ones to showcase online because there's a lot you can do without breaching customer confidentiality. Helen, I'm hoping that you have a team of people, and it's not just you. You can showcase different things that are going on in the business. And it doesn't have to be work-related to be engaging. the idea here is you just want to get your customers engaged. I'm going to show you actually a really good example of how to get your customers to engage in a way that's kind of work related, but not directly. So I had one of my staff run around today and shoot some video. And this is what he came up with just as a post for this is what's going on in the team. And it has branding elements in there that shows our brand, but it also showcases the size of our team and a little bit of our space. So let's have a watch.
Hey, it's Seth from Lad here. Today I'm going around the office to see what phones everyone has. Personally, I have a Samsung. Hey Liam, what phone do you have?
Obviously a Samsung, my screen's not broken.
Hey Huey, iPhone or Android?
Definitely Android, mate.
Way to go. Hey Joe, what phone do you have?
iPhone all day, every day.
Hey Dylan, what phone do you have?
iPhone.
Hey Tina, what phone do you have?
I have a Samsung.
Android wins.
Nice and simple video, but it showcases who my business are and the people, and showcases the size of it in a way that's engaging and encourages you to keep watching. So there's different ways to approach how you do content, especially when you're in a service-based industry where you don't necessarily want to be showcasing your clients. You can also talk about things that interest you, your experience in the industry, why you started the business, those sort of things. So Sheila's got a really great question here. She has a Facebook page for accommodation. How do I get more people onto the page? I will be getting to that. Bear with me. There's a few different ways we can do it. So I'm an organic specialist. If you post the right sort of content, especially starting with that introduction yourself, if you do it correctly, you'll get over 100 people engaged with it. Back in 2018, I worked with a business that sells pop culture items. They were in a 60 square meter store, and we started, and they were going under. They were closing down. I went in there, started to assist them and help rebuild their business. We started with an introduction post for the owner, got a huge amount of attention, started to draw people back into the business. And just by constantly showcasing capability and who they are, over the course of the last 4 years, they've gone from a 60 square meter shop to a 650 square meter shop and just opened the largest pop culture store in the Southern Hemisphere. So there's definitely ways to grow it if you're persistent and you keep showcasing who you are and what you do to for your customers. For accommodation industry in particular, social media is definitely a really, really powerful industry for showing who you are for brand awareness. When there's two types of customers here. There's need-based customers and want-based customer. A need-based customer goes, you know, I see something online, I want that, I like that, I'm going to purchase that. These tend to be more product business type orientated. The other type of customer is a need-based customer. A need-based customer goes, I need a service, my car's broken down on the side of the highway, I need a tow truck, I'm looking to go somewhere on holiday, I need to book into accommodation. These type of people turn to Google first. When we start looking at Google, the most powerful thing for Google is Google business profiles, which doesn't really take into account social media, but I'll quickly show you what that looks like. If I've just used the term tow truck. If I type in tow truck, this section here is Google Business or Google Places. And as I scroll down through here, this is all the websites that are organized by SEO, so how efficient their website is. If I type in accommodation in Harvey Bay, there you go, random pick. At the top here, we have Google Ads. You can tell they're ad because they say ad. Then we have Google Places for showcasing all the different accommodation providers. And then as we come down, we have all the different websites based on SEO, and then some more ads at the bottom. So if you don't have a Google business profile, I recommend setting it up. If you do have a Google business profile and haven't touched it in a long time, I would recommend jumping on there and having a look at it. It's incredibly powerful for getting your business in front of customers purely through Google search. Okay, so with social media though, there's definitely ways to get in front of more customers. And one of these ways is to actually buy ads. And there's a few different ways that we can look at buying ads. There's boosting, there's Ad Center, and there's Ads Manager. Ads Manager is a Ferrari. If you don't know how to drive one, it's absolutely no fun whatsoever, and all you're really going to do is grind gears. Boosting is the Camry. It's not very flash, it doesn't do a lot, but it's going to get you there. So for today's example, I'm going to be showing you boosting. And you've probably mostly all done boosting at some point in the past, but I'm going to show you a couple of tricks to get a little bit more out of it. So I'm going to go back to our Facebook and share a screen. We have a post here, it's a video for me recruiting some staff. I'm going to select the blue post button, and actually just before I do that, if you've got a post that's performed well, come over here, click on the reactions, and if you're signed into that page, which let me just do that really quickly. If you're signed into that page, then you'll have the ability to be able to invite people to like your page from those reactions. So here's our reactions. You'll see that this person here currently doesn't like the page, but they like the post. I can click on the invite. They're now going to get a notification inviting them to like the page. So I do recommend that you do that. Okay, so we've got a post that's performed well. We're going to click on the boost post button. We want to get it out to more people. This is going to take us into the boosting screen. If we have a special ad category around any of these sort of things, we have to turn this on. In this case, this ad's actually employment one, so it's telling us that we should select an employment one. We have messaging apps, so where we want the messages to come back through. And then we have the audience. In this section here, if we change the goal, depending on the type of ad, we'll have different options here, like we can put our phone number in there so we can get some calls directly. But as we come down here, we have how we want to target our audience. And people we choose through targeting, people who like our page. So that's really good if you've got a huge audience of people who are currently engaging with your content. You can send them out an ad and get them to re-engage and start building their attention back up. Often in my 14-year career, I've come across businesses where they have 5,000, 6,000 likes on their page, but when they post something, they get almost no attention. This is a pretty clear-cut example that they have a problem with their engagement. So using the people who like your page, you can retarget them. Next one down, people who like your page are people similar. Generally, if someone's interested in something, they have friends who are interested in the same thing. People in your local area, this one's really good for just targeting your region. So as you can see, I'm in Rockhampton, so it's giving me a radius of Rockhampton. We're going to use people you choose through targeting. We're going to click on this little edit button here, and it's going to take us to the screen. So we can pick a male or female audience, and we can pick an age range. As we change our age range or any of these things, it's going to reduce our estimated audience size. There's two ways to approach your estimated audience size. You can go very broad with your ads where you want to reach just anyone from brand awareness, or you can go very narrow and create ads that are very specific to the audience you want to target. So an example of this is if you're trying to sell a caravan. You might have caravans and camper vans and pop-up trailers. If you're selling a caravan, you're probably looking at an older demographic than if you're selling a pop-up trailer. So you might want to adjust your audience to that older demographic. The post that you're actually trying to advertise as well should be representative of that audience that you're trying to target. What I mean by that is if you're trying to sell a caravan, don't have a picture of me standing in front of the caravan. Pick someone who's in the older demographic and get them to stand in the front. So once you choose out your age and gender, Next thing is location. You can pick out multiple locations. We might want to say, okay, we want to target out to Brisbane. We want to target one to Perth. Perth, Western Australia. Apparently there's a lot of Perths. We might want to say, okay, we want to target ad to Kalgoorlie. Now, I don't know how to spell that, but I can always take this pin here and I can drop it down. When I drop down a pin, one of the cool things is that it's going to allow me to be able to reduce the radius. If I look at Brisbane here, I can only reduce the radius down to 10 miles. It's in miles because it's an American platform and Americans have not yet learned how to count in lots of 100. So I think 1 mile is around about 2.4K. I'm sure there's someone that's going to correct me. But if we take the pin tool and drop the pin down, we then get the ability to be able to reduce the radius down to within 1 mile. So we can effectively target a suburb, or sort of 2 suburbs, depending on how big the suburb is. This one's useful if you're like a small business like a cafe, you're just trying to target people in your immediate area. Or if you have a particularly affluent area, suburb in your region that you want to target, while avoiding one that's not as affluent. So there's a few different options here where you can target, and you can put in multiple locations. You can even go as far as saying, hey, I just want to target all of New South Wales. So you can pick out the entire state. After we choose our location and our demographics, the next thing is detailed targeting. Now in here, it's broken into 3 categories: demographics, interests, and behaviors. I tend to find that demographics is the most powerful. In here, we've got things like education. So, you know, degrees, so college, high school, etc. If financial doesn't work in Australia because of our privacy laws, so you can't use that one. You got things like life events, anniversaries, birthdays, new jobs, new relationships, newlywed, newly engaged. So who was it? Sheila, if your accommodation, you know, really features towards newlyweds or newly engaged, honeymoon type things, you could pick out the newly engaged target and be like, come have your honeymoon here at my accommodation. We can pick out things like parents, whether they have a newborn, school-age children, etc. How does Facebook know if I've got kids? I think every single mum is guilty of putting up a picture of her newborn baby. Facebook logs that information and starts to track it as we go forward. Other things like your online activity, like buying nappies, those sort of things, your search results will lead that information for how Facebook determines if you have children or not. We've got things like relationship status, so, you know, complicated, domestic, engaged, and married, separated. I've had a lot of success with the complicated one for a florist because, you know, he's in trouble. We can target people based on the industry they work in. So whether they work for large business, small, cleaning, environmental, sales, there's a lot of different opportunities here for targeting. You can even target people based on their job title. So for, you know, who was it? Helen, who works in financial planning, you could do up a post and target mechanics and be like, sort out your financials for mechanics. We used to have that one. Might have actually disappeared from mechanic. Oh, there we go. Just a minute to load. Diesel mechanics have come up. I know there is one there for automotive. It's just auto mechanic, apprentice. A little bit interesting. Sometimes the Facebook demographics can be a little bit odd. Okay, so interest. Inside of interest is essentially everything and anything you can ever begin to think of. And since the last time I looked at this, I've actually added a few new ones, which is awesome. So you can target people based on their hobbies and activities. Here we go. One for the accommodation provider, where they like to travel and what type of traveling they like to do. So a few different options there for you. Hotels, lodging. If they're actively searching for hotels. That could be one category that you could target them on Facebook with. Shopping and fashion, sports and outdoors, recreation, computers, technologies, business, relationships, fitness, wellness, right down to food and drinks. If people show interest in different types of beverages. So there's a lot of opportunities there in interest to target your customers. The final category is behaviors. So these are things that they're actively doing. So like the type of mobile device they're on, whether they're new in business, whether they're using Facebook payments, what operating system they use, if they're a small business owner, if they're Facebook page admin for essentially every type of Facebook page you can imagine. Their behaviors, so whether they've purchased with offer online recently, if anniversary is coming up. I know there is a one here somewhere for travel. Expats, there's one. People who live abroad, friends live abroad. So there's a lot of different options here for targeting. So you can really narrow down exactly who you want to reach and what sort of audience you want to target. Once you have your audience, and as you can see, I picked out hotels, lodging, and my audience is apparently 3.3 million to 3.9. I'm going to reduce that down to, let's say, just Perth. As I've reduced my audience down, you see that my estimated audience size has reduced. I'm just looking at that going, how many people actually live in Perth? I'm going to target Rockhampton. And the really cool thing about this is it can also give you an idea how big your market is potentially, based on what people's interests are. For the sake of this, let's see what, there you go. There's actually a category there to target people who have interest in glitter. So to bring up that option, all I've done is literally type in the search term there. So if I pick out glitter as an interest, which comes under the craft category, my audience size in the Rockhampton region is 2,000, 2.3 thousand people have some sort of interest in glitter crafts. And I can save that audience and use my post to target these customers. So the final step is our budget. Now this is where the real power of Facebook comes into the play. I want to run my ad for one day. I believe the minimum ad spend is $1.61. So for $1.61 for one day running an ad, I'm going to reach between 56 and 161 people. So if I can reach the right people with the right creative, the right photo or the right video, I'm really going to be engaging with that audience. It's going to be a really, really targeted way to reach my customer. And if I can convert one customer out of those 56 to 161 for $1.61 spent, that's a really good return on investment. For most ads though, I'd recommend that you run them for a few days, and you'll see that telling me that my ad spend has to be $16.10 for 10 days running. So that's my total ad spend. So for $16 over 10 days, I'm going to reach every single day at least 56 people with my post. Put in your payment details below, boost your post, it's going to go out to your customer. So I'm surprised I haven't had the question yet, but normally around here I get the question, should I be posting photos or videos? Photos sell your message immediately. And that if you take the right photo and you have the right copy being the words that go with your post, then you can sell it immediately. With a video, you're relying on customers to hit play and watch it. If you create a really good video, you can sell a lot more and you can tell a lot more of your story. So there's a few ways here to do the video effectively. And if you're totally new to creating video for your business, I recommend doing it, but start with stories. Stories is short-term content. It's only up there for 24 hours and then it disappears. So it's a really great way of getting yourself used to doing videos. It's not too serious. It doesn't have to be serious. It doesn't even have to be completely on brand. It's just a great way to go, hey, I'm here, look at me. So I recommend doing story. I'm a little bit dyslexic and I struggle sometimes, and don't mind me. Recommend doing stories to get in front of your customers and get you used to creating video. 15 seconds of footage can open you up to a world of audience. The other thing to keep in mind is if I open Facebook now on my phone, there it is on my phone, the first section that comes up here, and it's the same with Instagram, is stories. And people are scrolling across more than they're scrolling down there. So if you're not doing stories, I recommend start doing stories. Just because our audience is actively watching more stories than they are going down through the feed. If you're doing videos on your feed, make sure that you select your thumbnail. Select a good thumbnail and make sure you turn captions on. A lot of people aren't watching videos with audio on, so it's just a good way to be able to let them know what you're talking about without having them to have to turn the audio on. They might be watching it in a public environment, or while they're watching TV or movie, those sort of things. So select a good thumbnail for your video. That way it can act as a photo before they hit play. With your videos, generally you're looking at less than a minute on social media, and you want to have something that hooks them in and sells your message in the first 5 seconds. You want to have something that's engaging. So I definitely recommend you don't start with the traditional, hi guys, today we're doing this and this. Jump straight into the story. Let them know what's going on. So this happened today at work, and tell a story. Storytelling is one of the key secrets with your social media. When people come onto any social media, they're there to be entertained. They want to be interested. They want to see what's going on. They're not on there to see your product. So if you can tell a story about your product, your customers are going to be engaged with that. Which feeds us into TikTok, which, as I mentioned previously, is my all-time favorite platform at the moment. I have actually gone viral on TikTok. Sorry, I'm just trying to get a video loaded up here. I had a mate go, it's hard to go viral on TikTok. Essentially, it's a hold my beer situation. And within a day, I had 250,000 views on the video, which was just about fries. So it's very easy to go viral as long as you're telling a story and people can comment and engage with it. So I'm going to show you a couple of quick TikTok videos here. The cool thing about creating content for TikTok is you can also use the videos that you're doing on TikTok as stories on your other platforms like your Facebook and your Instagram. So I'm going to get my screen shared here. The first one I'm going to show you is from Cheese Boss. It's an American fella. And the first video that he put out got over 1 million views and essentially launched his video. And he captures what we call the dreamer market, and that everyone sort of thinks I can do the same thing, and it's really engaging. So let's play the video.
So
Hey,
1 year
guys?
ago,
My name's
I
Jim.
left everything
This
behind to
tiny
start
guitar.
the next big restaurant brand. We started off small with this plot of land and built everything we could by ourselves. We got this trailer to start and get proof of concept out to the people as fast as we could. We built everything and made it look really awesome and nice. But then we had to close. Shortly after, we managed to lease out this restaurant space and we built it up by hand ourselves. Piece by piece, wall by wall, hour by hour, day by day, we built it up and we finally got open. And this is where our story begins. This is us.
Okay, so if you're totally new to TikTok, likes, same as Facebook, comments, a little bit of a story. You got your hashtags. Generally with hashtags, sort of between 5 and 8 is a good number to post. And you've got your comments. So it sort of works the same. Very video orientated. This one, 1.6 million views. He's telling a story. The story is what people here are engaging with. Next one I'm going to show you is a hell of a lot more simple, and it's from Pokey's Mechanical. He's an Australian fella, and he's just going to tell us a little story here about, he's replying to a comment, and it's how many regular customers can you provide services for? Just asking because if your 100K followers all wanted a service, you'd be really busy.
All right, so I work on basically, I would estimate maybe, and I don't reckon it's even this high, would be 1% would be in my area are followers on TikTok. It may be a little bit higher, it might be lower. That's 1,450 people. If I get half of them as customers, I'm doing amazingly well, and this makes this worthwhile. A lot of my customers tell me they come from seeing us on TikTok, and yeah, it's working. Saying that, would I be able to service 100,000 followers? No shop in Australia could handle that. So no, I wouldn't be doing that. But most of the customers, most of the people following me aren't from this area locally, but a small percentage of them are. But that small percentage, even if it's only 1%, is more than I can handle. So yeah, that's how my marketing works.
The interesting thing to note with how he does his videos is there's nothing flash about them. For the most part, it's just him holding his phone, something that this pains me as someone who produces content, but every single person here has a, I imagine, has a decent smartphone that you can record content on, and all he's doing is pointing it in and telling a bit of a story. So let's just look at his most recent one. He does this sort of style all the time, telling a story.
What's happened? There's no way the fuel just explodes out of nowhere. What?
Oh dear, I have the answer for you, son. It's quite simple actually, and you're going to go, oh, I'm a fuckhead. So you see how your car's sitting outside and temperature changes and stuff like that? Well, from your fuel tank to the from your fuel tank to the front of the car, it's a sealed unit, and fuel tanks build up a bit of pressure. And if there's nowhere for it to go, it's going to come out the hose. So just go back to your fuel cap, let it off. When the fuel heats up and expands, the air's just going to come past your cap. If you've got that sealed and you've got a hose off at the front, you're going to end up with a driveway covered in fucking dirt, fuel. And yeah, I've got a barn find super over here.
So his approach to it is really, really simple. It's just face to camera sort of stuff, but he tells a bit of a story. The most important thing to know when you start looking at, okay, what am I going to actually create and shoot for my business, is that your customers only ever see what you allow them to see. That's the front of your reception, that's your truck that you work out of, your trade ute, whatever it is. They don't get to see the behind the scenes. So for you, where it's every single day you're working live, for your customers, it's completely new. It's unknown, unseen. So there's a chance to take customers behind the scenes and let them see what actually goes on in your business. Tell them a bit of a story that toilet, you've just put in 500 toilets in your lifetime. It's boring to you, but for your customers, how to install a toilet might be something very exciting, something that they're interested in. So don't be afraid to tell a little bit of a story about what actually goes on behind the scenes in your business, because it might be completely, totally new to your customer. As I mentioned, video is one of the most important things these days going into that. When we organise shooting video and what's important, the most important thing is the story. Tell a good story, nothing else matters, not the quality, audio, nothing. After a good story comes the audio quality. You want to make sure that your customers can hear you. Even the picture quality is not the best, as long as they can understand and hear what the message is, they're going to follow. Good music, those sort of things all represent an audio. Let me show you a quick example of this. At the moment, I'm using a Yeti Blue microphone. If I switch from my microphone to my webcam, I imagine that the audio quality has just dropped in terms of how good it is. So make sure that you try and get some good quality audio. A really cheap, easy way to get good quality audio if you're using a mobile phone is the headphones that came with it. They got a little microphone on them. Plug your headphone in, use the extension cable if you have to for your jack. Hook your headphones into your shirt, and you'll get sort of what we call lapel quality audio out of that, really cheap and really easy. Belinda's got a question. She says, if my product branding is quite premium, how do I accept non-high quality videos? Own it. If it's a story-based video, and it comes from your customers, be like customer content. Put that in there in big words, being like, from our customers, our customer center, listen, those sort of things. If it's content that you're shooting, put it BTS, behind the scenes. The quality of your content that you produce doesn't have to be premium all the time. So much so that when we look at video quality, stories first. Doesn't matter if your quality is bad, as long as you're telling a good story, and that works every single time. After story, audio. After audio, actually composition, how the shots are taken. When we look at shooting video, and with the team of people that I have working for me, I have a visual effects artist, I have a videographer, and I have a cinematographer. My cinematographer, he started his time on Lord of the Rings, worked on all 3 movies. He worked on all 3 Hobbits. He's worked on The Block. He's worked on Married at First Sight. He's worked on all these big TV shows, productions. Worked on Survivor. I'm confident he worked on Survivor in Tahiti. So he's had all these sort of experiences, but walk on a site with $100,000 worth of camera, yeah, that's well and good. The best video I've ever shot, as someone who's been in the industry for 15 years, I was working with a recording artist who's had a couple of #1s in the charts, both here in Australia and in the US. And he's in the country scene. The song Body Like a Back Road had just come out by Sam Hunt. Rather quite a good song, Body Like a Back Road. I can't sing, that's why I use cameras. And I said to the artist, you've got to do a little bit of a video on this. It's a great song, everyone's engaging with it. And he said, okay, he doesn't know the song, played it a few times for him, he can play by ear. He picked up the key, practiced a couple of times, pulled up on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, pulled out my phone and recorded him singing the song, just a couple of verses of it, and put it up on his Snapchat first. On his Snapchat, it had a couple of million views within the first 15 minutes. Then we posted it on his Facebook, then on to his Instagram. This was before the era of TikTok. And between all 3 platforms, we had something like 20 million views inside of a day. That came up with a mobile phone. Around about 10 weeks before that, we shot his music video. We had a producer fly out from Vegas to shoot it with us. We had a team of 4. We had a camera on loan from HBO. We're talking massive production. And I think that video, when it was released, only got a couple, maybe 10, 20,000 views. So quality of production doesn't matter as much as story and time. If you time it right when you release it, you tell a cool story, the customers are going to engage with you. Storytelling is the reason why we came together and formed societies. It's the reason why we have friends and we like people and we don't like other people. So tell a story. It doesn't matter if the quality is good or bad, as long as the story is good. So at this point in time, I'm throwing out to the audience, if you have a question, let me know what your question is. And I'm also going to let you know about the Digital Solutions Program. You might already be signed up to it. I'm one of the advisors. I've been advising with the program, I think, coming on 7 years now. Quite a while. The program gives you 7 hours of mentorship. It costs us only $44 to sign up for it. And you get 3 hours of personalized one-to-one advice for your business. These are the requirements. You've got to have a business in WA, Queensland, or NT, fewer than 20 employees, and be operating to make a profit. These are the things that we can help you with. Often with a lot of the clients that I advise with, we will actually plan out a 26-week social media calendar for them of what content they can post. We'll come up with all the ideas, planning a calendar of ideas, strategies, and approaches for their marketing. That's what I specialize in, creating the right content. That and a little bit of websites. So if you can come up with 26 weeks of content, effectively when you get to the end of the 26 weeks, you can go back to week 1, shoot new content in a similar style, and start that plan again. So if you're not on the Digital Solutions program, I recommend going on to Business Station Digital Solutions, sign up, it's $44. If you want to have a session with me, put me down as your preferred advisor, and I'm more than willing to assist you with your business. In fact, I enjoy it. Okay, so we have a couple of questions here. Okay. Let's do this one. So the first question from Peter, can you quickly run through the weekly posts again? So if you haven't been posting on social media, I recommend that you just start posting. And I recommend posting once per week to begin with. So week 1, do a branding post. Introduce yourself, introduce your team. If you have a dog that comes to work with you every day, your home-based business, introduce your dog even. Tell a little bit of a story about who you are. Introduce the next person in the team. Explain why you started the business, explain your location, let people know about you, the values of the business and what you do. The next step is capability. Let your customers know what you're capable of doing. So just do a post on one thing. Don't try and sell the entire world. Just one post about one thing that you do in your business. One product, one service. You've got forever to sell everything, so you only need that one post. After that, action posts. This is where you go, we have availability this weekend, we have rooms available, buy a product, come through to our website, call me, whatever it is, you're asking your customer to take some sort of action. Final step, social testimony. So week 4, you want to have a picture with you, with the customer, with your product, your customer happy with your service, something in there where you can go, Liam had a really great time staying at XYZ Lodging. A lot of people feel a little bit awkward about asking their customers for content, but if you go, hey, looks like we're having a great time, can I grab a shot for our social media? Most people won't say no. You think they would say no, but generally they don't. And my team probably produce over 1,000 photos every single week, and they've got very used to asking people for photos and don't get much pushback ever, especially when they know it's not just you're taking photos for a weird reason, you take them for a purpose. Might be, hey, I want to feature you on my social media. So that's the sort of approach that we take. Next question down from Sheila, how do you get more people to your Facebook page? Create engaging content. When people engage with it and they share it to their friends, make sure you invite them to like your content. The other side of it is you want to take a paid strategy, boost it out to people in your region, your audience, who you want to target. Get them to start engaging with your content. The key trick here is engagement. Engagement is liking tags, shares, comments, and clicks. Next question here is from Belinda, semi-related to webinar. I have multiple pages, Facebook, Australia, NZ, and US arms of my business. Should you combine them? A little bit of a hard one without digging into your business specifically. From an outside point of view, without looking at everything, I'd say no, keep them separate. Just simply because a customer in the US is going to look very different to a customer in Australia. We're definitely very different cultures. And a really great example of this is I worked with a business. They were in the windscreen replacement industry and they weren't getting a lot of business off their website. And I looked at the website and it had stock photos of mechanics in overalls with left-hand drive cars and snow outside. That doesn't represent Australia. So as soon as we went through, took new stock photos for them, represented the cars that we actually have in Australia. I've never seen a mechanic wear overalls in Australia. They just tend not to do that. As soon as it was representative of the Australian culture, then their customers started engaged with their website more and their sales went up. So I'd keep them separate. From an outside point of view, I'd have to look at your business in particular to give you specific advice around it. Text-based testimonials, they don't have a lot of social testimony trusts. Ideally, you want to get that picture. If you're getting pushback from your customers around pictures, throw out a competition. You know, give them a free prize, a free product or something to get them to send in pictures to you, or discount, or give them some sort of value to give you back value that they can use on their social media. With Instagram, a great one is to, hey, use hashtag XYZ for your product and then repost those hashtags for those pictures when they relate to your product. So have a hashtag there for your product, e.g. Liam's Glitter Store or something in that variety. Any other questions from the audience? Now's your time to ask them. If you are watching this online later, because I believe it's going to be posted to YouTube, that's generally what we do, then I recommend that if you have a question, just get in touch with me. For those of you who want to learn more about TikTok, next week my course is called Don't Dance for Likes on TikTok, where I show you how to reach more people with TikTok without having to dance on there. I have 2 left feet and I definitely cannot follow a beat. So I have created strategies for TikTok where you don't have to dance. So that's next week through the Digital Solutions Business Station page at the same time with myself. So I'm Liam Fay from the Digital Solutions Advisory Service on behalf of Business Station. I'm one of the advisors for the program, have been now for, I think it's coming on 7 years. I'm going to have to check that. And this has been social media for business. Hope you've got something out of value for it. If you'd like to let me know what is the best thing that you've learned today, put that in the chat. It always helps me to make these workshops better in future. Otherwise, have a great evening, day, afternoon or morning, depending on when you're watching this.